guys, welcome back to Thankfully Packed. My name is Chris, and today I have a few plants that need a little bit of extra love, so I'm going to be potting them up. I have a very root-bound Pothos. I have a couple of Syngoniums that I recently purchased, but they seem like maybe they'll be a little bit happier in a chunkier soil mix. And I have a few Hoyas as well that need not only a sturdier pot, but just some more soil around the roots. So if you have any plant tours to do, definitely pause the video, grab your stuff, let's do it together, or you can just hang out with me and watch me repot some plants. By the way, if you're curious about anything I'm using today, soil, tools, pots, anything at all, I will link as much as I can down below in the description for your information. If I don't link anything, let me know and I'll get back to you in the comments. All right, let's get started. Okay, so the first plant that I really want to repot is this Pothos. It's been doing really good, but I've noticed that the new growth has started to come in every now and then, a little bit messed up. I don't know if it's just because it's out in the elements. Like if you see this leaf, it's a little deformed. Let's see. There's a few other ones that came out like that as well. This could also just be pests. So this one right here has like some holes in it. This one right here as well. I wanted to just check on the roots just to see what was going on, and I saw, ta-da! Lots of roots coming out, and they're basically circling the cover pot at this point. So now is when I would say it's maybe time to repot it. I'm really hoping that by giving it a bigger pot and circling those roots with some soil that it will start growing regular leaves again and that it'll be happier in general. So let's start with this one. By the way, look how long this vine is. When I put it out on the porch, it was maybe the length of this vine right here, maybe like right here, and like look how much. I can't even, I'm in a basement, so my ceiling doesn't go very high, but look how long. I love Pothos. Don't get me wrong, I love a good orchid pot. Even though this is not an orchid, it's a pothos, I do use them for a lot of my plants because it provides a lot of aeration on the roots and that reduces root rot. However, when they start growing and they obviously go through the pot, it can be really tricky to feed them back through these tiny little slots. That's the only downside. And as you can see, I lost even more roots trying to finagle them through, but usually it's not that bad. And clearly this pothos has plenty of roots, so it's not going to be too negatively affected, but you know, you can always just use this on plants that have a thicker root if you're nervous. I really think this pothos is going to do much better now. Unfortunately, I could not find a nursery pot that would fit, so I did end up using what I was going to use as a cover pot, as the pot itself, as you can see. However, this pot has drainage holes at the bottom, so I'm not too worried about it. Time for some pest prevention and leaf shine. I'm grabbing my microfiber gloves, my favorite, and my DIY pest spray. And yes, I will be cleaning every single leaf, including the undersides. So I never found any actual bugs, just what I thought was their possible damage, like that they left behind. But just to be cautious, like I said, I'm rubbing in every single leaf, and then I'm also letting it sit. So I'm kind of doing one more spray and just letting it soak that in just a little bit while it lingers. Just gonna take my little label off and put it onto the new pot. I've been really good about labeling my plants lately, because I've been getting just so many plants, and a lot of them, not that they look similar, but I'm really terrible with names, so I can't quite remember like, okay, this is this one, this is that one. So I've been really good about using my label maker. I will have to use it today for some of these newer Hoyas as well. But anyway, this one is done. All right, next up are these two Syngoniums that seem to be, I don't know, they're not doing the best. They're kind of curling down. I think it's either a problem with the roots or the soil. So obviously, if I change the soil, I'll be able to take a look at the roots. So that's what I plan on doing with these today. This is my Syngonium Neon Robusta, which I just very recently unboxed here on this channel, along with this one, which is the Syngonium Cream Illusion. And I'm pretty sure that these will bounce back from pretty much anything. So let's do that, because As you can see, the soil that it's in is just that straight like peat nursery soil that it comes in, not very chunky, and I prefer to keep my plants in a nice chunky mix. So let's get started. I'm gonna just put aside the Robusta for now and work on the Cream Illusion. Okay. Okay, interesting. All right, lost some roots in there, but as I suspected, it's just, I think this soil is holding on to too much moisture. And actually the only problem I've ever had with Syngoniums is overwatering. I got root rot on my cream. What is it? My strawberry cream. I got root rot on my strawberry cream because it was just holding on to too much moisture and I was overwatering it. And I just think it's just the easiest way to kill these plants. This soil is not going to be doing it any favor. So chunky soil is the way to go. It'll drain faster. It'll allow it to have more air in it and not suffocate the roots. So yeah. Also, this root ball is tiny. I don't know if I should downsize the pot. I don't really have many options right now. I'll take a look, but this root ball is so small. And for some reason, the roots are all circled into it. It looks like when they repotted it, they kind of just twined up the roots like that. It's kind of odd. Haven't seen that before. It's actually 2 plants. Oh. Okay, I'm gonna pivot real quick because first of all, I think I see a little bit of root rot. Yep, these roots are rotting away. So once again, it was staying wet for too long. It got root rot. I also think I'm just going to pot these up separately. That way I have kind of, not insurance, but if one fails, I'll likely double my chances of having one, you know what I mean? So 50-50 chance that I will have at least one healthy plant. This is definitely its own thing, and this is definitely its own thing. I do have to clean up these roots. See, that just like completely fell away. This is 100% root rot. I'm really glad that I'm checking these now because I was chalking it up to like, oh, they just need to acclimate a little bit more, so they're drooping, it's normal. I just got these in the mail not too long ago, but that's why I like to check the roots. And that's also why, this is maybe a little controversial, I tend to repot sooner than most people say to do. Everybody and their mama says, wait at least 2 weeks before you even do anything with the plant. Keep it in quarantine, which I do agree with because they can come with pests. I don't disagree with that. However, they also say don't repot right away because you're going to be shocking a plant. Because when you think about it, it's coming from a nice, ideal environment, typically a nursery, and going into your new house. And if you bought it, even if you bought it at a big box store, it has probably traveled some ways to get to you, especially if you get it through the mail. So it is going through that shock, that whole transition period. Then you're putting it into a whole new environment, new watering schedule, new temperature, new, like ambient humidity. And on top of that, you're now messing with the roots. That's like shock on shock on shock on shock. So the ideal thing, or that's what everybody says, is to wait before you mess with the roots, before you repot it, before you do anything with it, because yeah, you're just adding more stress to the plant. However, I can probably add this to the list, but I cannot tell you how many times I've brought a plant home and checked the roots and it is already on its way out because it's rotting out. It might have like root mealies or whatever, and I would never have known had I not checked the roots. So I'm kind of like 50-50 on the wait before you repot. I at least like to check before I need to repot, especially when it comes in soil like this, because it's just been too many times at this point where this soil has completely just, it just has made the plant die, essentially, before I even really get a chance to do anything with it. And then like you start blaming yourself when really you brought a plant home that was bound to fail because it was already failing. So anyway, that's my little rant for today, my little maybe controversial take, I don't know. But I am going to obviously have to cut away some more of this root rot, clean it up. I'm going to spray the roots with hydrogen peroxide, obviously get rid of this soil and pot it up. All right, so this is what I'm left with after I cleaned the roots in the sink, sanitizing my shears with some alcohol and just cutting away the remaining of the root rot. And now I'm just running my hands down the length of the root. Since Syngoniums have thicker and more hardy roots, you should be able to do this without having the roots completely fall away. Otherwise, you probably have some root rot. And now I'm spraying them with 3% hydrogen peroxide solution to hopefully kill any more of that root rot bacteria. And as you can see, I chose slightly smaller pots because there's like no roots on these things, and I am fully expecting a period of shock where they will probably droop even more and drop these leaves. However, I think they will come back. Okay, so this is what I have for now. I don't have cover pots just yet, but at least they're in nice fresh soil. So moving on from the cream illusions to this neon robusta, which again, I suspect probably has some root rot. So I'm just going to rinse and repeat. This is the moment I immediately found out I was wrong, because look at these babies. Look at these roots, you guys. Amazing. First of all, a really nice root system, which makes sense because it's got a lot more leaves than the ones that we just did, but wow, and absolutely no root rot. I was actually pleasantly surprised. Not bad, not bad. So also it was only one plant, so I couldn't separate it like I just did with the cream illusions, but that's fine. However, I really think this root ball was too big for that pot, so I decided to go up just a little, just a smidge, not too much, okay, not too much, and I'm gonna put it in this orchid pot. And honestly, these roots could have probably just used a trim, but I think this orchid pot will do just fine. And just upgrading it now to my chunky soil. I think it's going to be much happier in here and healthier. Okay, once again, I have no idea what cover pot I'm going to be putting this one in. I definitely have to, because since it's an orchid pot, it's got a lot of slots and holes, and yeah, it's going to make a mess every time I water or move the plant. So this one desperately needs a cover pot. At least with these, if I don't find one right away, all I really need to do is maybe put it on a drip tray. But anyways, pleasantly surprised with this one. It did not have root rot. However, the root system was insane. Like you guys saw, that was a lot of roots, and I think it just maybe was getting a little bit suffocated by the amount of roots and that size of a pot. I feel like it's going to outgrow it sooner rather than later, but at least this one has a lot of aeration as well, so I'm not too worried about it possibly developing root rot. Anyway, that is done. So that was the Syngonium Neon Robusta. Okay, next up, Hoyas. These are new Hoyas to my collection. I have a Velosa, I have a Splash, and I have a Rotundiflora. So the reason I am getting these out is because the nursery pots that they come in are super flimsy, and when they start vining and are heavier like this, they constantly fall down and it drives me nuts. Plus, some of them are just potted down here a little bit too deeply for my liking, so I just kind of wanted to get them established in a more long-term situation. And at this point, I just want to check the roots of basically every new plant that I got, just to make sure that I am not setting myself up for failure. I already went ahead and repotted one of my newer Hoyas that came in this little haul as well. This is my Hoya Crassipetiolata Splash, and I absolutely love it in this orange pot. I think it's so cute. I did pot it directly into it because it does have a drainage hole, so I'm not worried about basically causing root rot by letting the water sit in here for too long. However, I did find that some of these smaller nursery pots kind of fit into this right here, so I mean, you can still see the edge, which kind of irks me, but at the same time, that's where I can put my little label so I can remember what to call the plant. And it's not too bad. I don't think it's too like unsightly, like some of my other ones where the nursery pot is so much taller than the cover pot. It drives me nuts. But I think I'm going to go with that. So I have these two right here. So just sit in there like that. However, obviously I have 3 more Hoyas, so I'm going to have to find another pot situation for one of these. For these orange pots, though, I think I'm going to prioritize the Splash and the Rotundiflora, and I'll find something else for the Velosa because these are really kind of vining already, and I have a couple of trellises on the way that I think will fit really well into these pots. So I'm going to obviously trellis them when I get them. So I'm going to be using these 2 for that orange pot and finding something else for this Velosa. these had really great roots as well. A lot more sensitive and thinner than the Syngoniums for sure, but really healthy nonetheless. And I really love the stuff that it comes in. I don't know what it is. I want to say I think it has some orchid bark in there, but I think it's coconut husk, if I'm not mistaken. I love this stuff. So whenever my plants come in that, I kind of just push my own chunky mix around it because I don't want to disturb it. But yeah, that one was super easy and straightforward. So moving on to the Rotundiflora, same deal again. This one was a little bit more wet, so the cocoa husk stuff kind of fell away a little bit more easily, but I literally just picked it back up and kind of added a few bits of my own mix to it as well. Okay, this is the best I could do for the Velosa. I just need to get some more pods, you guys. It's getting dire out here. Anyways, nice coconut husk stuff again. So I just added my chunky mix to it, and I am not wasting a single drop of this stuff. I wish all the plants came potted in this already, at least the ones that need more of a well-draining mix. This stuff is awesome, so I'm not wasting any of it. Putting it right back into the pot and topping it off with the chunky mix. Okay, so that is the Velosa. I did not, like I said, have another cute orange pot for this one, but I will be on the hunt for a nice cover pot. I think I'm going thrifting soon, so hopefully I come across something that will work for this. So this is what we have. Okay, I have one more Hoya that's recent to my collection as well. This was told to me that this is the Hoya Publicalis Silver Splash. So it is, I think, slightly different than this one, which is the Hoya Splash. Honestly, I think it just comes down to the level of variegation in it. So this one, as you can see, has a lot of silver in it, hence the Silver Splash. And then this regular Splash does not have too much in it, to be honest. It's kind of like a lesser variegated version of this. When I looked it up, it did say there are distinct plants, so they're not the same, but they look pretty similar to me. This one just looks like it's trying to climb a little bit more than this one, but since I'm here and I don't like the nursery pot or the soil that it comes in, I might as well just switch it up. You guys, my goodness, look at how much soil is in here for this amount of roots. This one was gonna rot away if it wasn't already on its way out. It was going to be like, this is insane. Like, look at how many roots. That is why I will be checking every single time. Anyways, I am potting it in a slightly smaller pot, as you can see, and just adding in my chunky mix. I ran out of soil, so I had to go get one of the tubs that I keep on standby. So basically, I make my chunky mix in big batches. I keep them in these little totes, and then I refill this main drawer, as you can see, whenever it gets low. Let me know if you want to see a video on the chunky mix. I think I've already shown it before on my channel, but yeah, it's really simple. Okay, bonus plant, because I remembered that I have this ring of fire that I also got when I hauled most of these Hoyas, and I noticed that right away that the soil was a little bit too low, and I can see a lot of the roots just kind of sprawling on the top. As you can see. And I just want to get it potted in a little bit deeper, just slightly deeper than this one is, because yeah, I just feel like it's already outgrown this pot. And I, again, love a chunky mix, so let's switch it up. Oh. Whoa. Talk about root bound. Look at these roots. What the? All right, definitely glad that I'm getting it out of this pot. It's obviously way too small. It also has a couple little pups right there, so cute. Maybe this one that the golden pothos was in just now could fit a little better. Yeah, I think that is gonna work a lot better for the roots, and I'm actually just not even gonna disturb them because they look really healthy. I don't see any signs of root rot, although it is kind of like circling in. I'm just gonna squeeze this like this, but I'm not going to break it up too much because they'll find their way. They'll continue to spread out once it realizes it's in more soil. So I think that's as much as I'm gonna do, to be honest. Okay, I'm gonna clean this first because this was in a pot that was outside, so be right back. Okay, nice and clean. I wonder if I should remove those pups or just leave it. I think I'll leave it for now, but I am tempted to take those out because they're so cute. Maybe I could make another plant. All right, well, maybe next time. Let's keep it simple for now. Okay, I feel like that's much better. I didn't completely bury this main stem because I don't think it needs to be. I just wanted it to be a little bit more stabilized, so I buried it just slightly more than it was before, and it obviously has a lot more soil all the way around, so I think it'll be much happier now. With all the new Hoyas that I've added to my collection lately, I've been thinking I might do an updated Hoya video. So just a tour of all of my Hoyas. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think I've ever done a video of just my Hoyas. So this would be my first. But maybe I'll wait until the end of the year just in case a few more sneak their way into my collection. But in general, let me know if you guys would be interested in that. I love getting full tours of people's plants collections and specifically Hoyas right now because again, they are my obsession. I mean, look at this rotunda floor. It literally looks like pickles to me. I can't even. Anyways, let me know if you guys want to see that. I would be happy to show you. And side note, if you're like me and hate soil everywhere, my little handheld vacuum is a total lifesaver. I love this thing. Seriously, I use it all the time for cleanup after repotting sessions or anything really in my house at this point. I have 2 of them and it just makes lives so much easier. But yeah, here are all of today's plants, nice and clean. Leaves are looking fresh, soil is ready, so it's time to hydrate these plants. I always feel like I have to say this as a little disclaimer, but I do wait for all of the water to drain through, and I repeat this process several times because you really want to make sure that any hydrophobic soil and any air pockets get thoroughly drenched. This is how you water, people. This is not overwatering. Just make sure you give it a good drink each time. Last but not least, time to grab my trusty little label maker and make sure every plant has its proper name tag. I did reuse some of the ones from before, but since I split a couple of the Syngoniums and I didn't label some of these other new arrivals, I did have quite a few labels to make. All right, guys, that is it. That is all for today's video. I had so much fun repotting. I love repotting, but for some reason, it's such a daunting task that I just wait for a bunch of things to accumulate, and then I put it off and I put it off, I procrastinate, and once I finally do it, I'm like, why the heck did I wait so long? It's so therapeutic. I love getting my hands in the soil and just giving the plants some much needed TLC. Let me know if you guys are like that as well. I don't know, it's just how my brain works. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did and you're not already subscribed, definitely give the video a like and a sub. It really helps my channel out. And I post weekly here on YouTube, all kinds of planty things. So if that's your vibe, give the notification bell a ring as well so you don't miss my next video. And once again, if you're curious about anything I used today, down to the pots, the soil, the tools, even my DIY pest spray mix will be in the description, so check that out. All right, I will see you guys next time. Bye.